Hi students, how are you? I hope you are fine. Okay, today we are going to learn a new chapter from our literature reader. Okay, its topic is A Gorilla in the Guest Room, written by Gerald Durrell. So I think we shall go through the description of author at first. Are you ready? Okay. Gerald Durrell was a British naturalist, zookeeper, and writer. He is a British person, nationalist, and naturalist also, who was caring about the nature. Zookeeper, the man keeping zoo, and writer also. He has written a number of books based on his experience with different animals. Some of his most famous books are The Overloaded Ark in 1953, My Family and Other Animals 1956, and A Zoo in My Luggage in 1960. These are the famous works of Gerald Durrell. Okay, and this text is about a baby gorilla called Pongo who is taken to a zoo in Jersey. Jersey? It's a place. Okay. This Pongo is a baby gorilla was taken to the zoo in Jersey. The speaker who runs the zoo keeps Pongo in his house at first. Our speaker, he also the keeper of zoo, he was keeping this Pongo in his house at first. The text is a funny and touching narration of the baby gorilla's time with the zoo staff and how they come to love and admire him. Okay, this story we are learning is explaining and how was the approachment of this gorilla in that zoo and how the staff was approaching to him. Then I think we can go through the lines of this chapter. Are you ready? Yeah, okay. Then first we shall go through the intro of the chapter. The speaker in the text you are about to read has been offered a baby gorilla for his zoo for £1,200. The speaker has been offered by somebody else to get a baby gorilla for his own zoo for £1,200. Though the zoo is not doing well financially, zoo is not going well with finance, he cannot resist the idea of adding a gorilla to the zoo. He cannot refuse to accept this gorilla to the zoo. That means they are not well in finance, well with financial support, but they cannot refuse the gorilla also. They want gorilla, but they have not enough money. After many calls to raise the money, after many attempts to collect the money, he is finally ready to collect the animal. He became ready. Read on to find what happens. Now we have to read the comings to find out what happened later. Okay. The great day came and I went over to the London airport to collect the app. The day came and I am ready to go for London airport to collect our baby gorilla. My one fear was that when I arrived there, it would turn out to be a chimpanzee. I am very afraid about when I will reach there, would it be changed into chimpanzee or it will stay as gorilla. That means sometime the dealers, they will cheat giving chimpanzees instead of gorilla. The dealer met me and escorted me to a room in the animal shelter. The dealer, the man who working for the seller and the buyer and helping them in between, he escorted him. He went with him as to protect him into a shelter, a building for the protection of Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animal. Royal Society is a trust or organization for the protection of animals against the cruelty against them. And they reached into the building of this royal society. He threw open the door, and the first thing I saw was a couple of baby chimpanzees. When he opened the door, first I saw a couple of baby chimpanzees sitting on a table and chewing bananas. They are sitting on the table and chewing bananas. My heart sank. He became very sad, and I had visions of having to go back to Jersey empty handed. That time I got an idea. Vision here means an idea to go back to the Jersey, the place where he is living. Jersey, an island that is part of the Channel Island near the coast of the British Isles. There are a lot of islands near to Britain, and Jersey is one of the island near to the Britain. Okay. Then he came and he got an idea to get back to the Jersey without any animal. But the dealer walked over to a crate in the corner. But dealer didn't stop near chimpanzees. He walked over and reached into a crate. Crate means a wooden box built with strips of wood that used to transport things. In the corner of that room, and opened the door, and Pongo walked into my life. That time when he opened the door, the Pongo walked into his life means he saw the Pongo from there. He stood about 18 inches high and was quite the most handsome and healthy looking baby gorilla I had ever seen. When the gorilla stood, he has 18 inches high and most handsome, much handsome and healthy looking baby gorilla. Was a healthy looking baby gorilla ever he seen. He walked across the room towards the speaker, and then held up his arms to be lifted up. He raised his arms to take him. I was amazed at how heavy he was for his size. When I took him, I was amazed. It's a very baby one, but it's much weight. His light chocolate colored fur, the feather or the hairs on the body, was thick and soft, very thick and also soft. And the skin on his hands, feet and face was soft and glossy as leather. The skins on the hands, feet and face were soft and glossy means shiny, like leather. His eyes were small and deep set. Small deep set means it was set in deep of the face. Twinkling like chips of coal. Twinkling, sparkling. Chips means tiny piece of coal. Coal, charcoal like that things. The black stones used to make fire. Okay. Here this chips of coal means it's a small piece shining all time and firing all time. He lay back in my arms and studied me carefully. The gorilla laid on his hands and began to study about the owner, the speaker, with an unwinking stare. Unwinking means not blinking, continuously opened. With stare. Stare means the harsh looking. And then lifted a fat and gentle forefinger and touched my beard. Then the gorilla raised a fat and gentle forefinger, calm and kind forefinger, the index finger, and touched my beard. You can see that in image. It's clear, yeah? I tickled his ribs and he wriggled about in my arms. Tickle means lightly touching body. That we will make the childs and babies to make them laugh. Okay? Touching in some parts of their body. His ribs, curved bones that are connected with the spine at the back side of body. And he wriggled. Wriggle means twist and turn the body. He began to twist and turn his body quickly. In my arms, giggling hoarsely. Giggle means to laugh in a silly way. Very beautiful smile. Laugh. Hoarsely means in a rough way. Okay, he began to giggle, make laugh in a rough way. His eyes shining with amusement. His eyes were shining with the enjoyment and entertainment. Enjoyment of entertainment. I sat him down on a convenient, easy, and useful table, and handed him a banana. He accepted it with little growls of pleasure. Growl means a deep angry sound that animals will make from their throat. So he received the banana with a deep throat sounding and ate very daintily. Ate very daintily means in a careful way, using small steps or small movements. Yeah, doing something very carefully with small steps. Compared to the chimpanzees, yeah, it was daintily compared to the chimpanzees. Chimpanzees are eating everything very immediately, but gorillas are eating everything with slowly and carefully, who were stuffing their mouths as full as they could. The chimpanzees are stuffing, making full their mouths as full as they could. I wrote out the check and then we bundled and Pongo. I gave them the check of money, and bundled means pushed someone somewhere or into something very quickly. That means we pushed or we just made him back into the crate. Growling protest and Pongo. We bundled and Pongo. We pushed Npongo, growling protest. Yeah, Npongo was making protest or growling, the deep angry sound, back into the crate. We pushed back into the crate, and went off to catch the plane for Jersey. And went off means went looking for a plane to Jersey, where is to my place. Is it clear? Yeah. At Jersey, I took Npongo out of his crate and we drove to the zoo with him sitting on my lap. I took Npongo and sat on my lap, and I was driving through the zoo. He took a great interest in the cows we passed. He was much interested to see the cows that we are seeing when we passing through the way, only occasionally looking up to peer into my face. He was looking sometimes only, not often, sometimes up to peer into my face. Up to peer means to look carefully. He was looking at my face very carefully only sometimes. When we arrived there in my house, I carried him up to our flat. I carried him to my flat. His cage was not quite ready. It was not completely ready, and I had decided that he would have to spend a couple of days in our guest room. Until the cage will be ready, Gorilla has to spend time with me in my guest room. His grave, courteous manner, grave meaning serious. His serious and courteous means polite, showing respectful manner, behavior, and his rather sad expression. His sad expression immediately won over. Quickly won over means made someone's like you quickly. Made over here won over means it immediately made someone's like. Got someone's like with Jackie and my mother. Jackie is my wife, is his wife and mother. Okay, this gorilla won the love of the speaker's mother and wife. And before long, he was lying back on the sofa. While they stuffed him with food. Before he going for the sleep in the sofa, they made his mouth feed him. The staff too came upstairs one by one. Staff of the zoo also came to the flat, pay homage to him. Homage means to show deep respect. They came and show him respect as he were a king, as like he is a king. Having previously kept calmly the chimpanzee in the house. Yeah, before days he was keeping a chimpanzee in his house. Its name is Kamli. I knew from bitter experience that an app could quickly turn a civilized room into a something closely resembling a bomb site. Mm. Here, having the experience of keeping a chimpanzee in house, I know some bitter experience that an app, the animal like monkey and chimpanzee like that, could quickly turn. They can change a civilized room, a well organized room, into a something closely resembling a bomb site, into a uh, bomb site look like place. They can change well organized and well prepared place into a place which is look like a bomb site. Somewhere that bomb has exploded. I watched Npongo like a hawk. I observed him as a hawk. Hawk means eagle and a very fast bird. They are observing the prey every time very clearly. Okay, then the speaker was observing him every time. When he became bored with lying on the sofa, he decided to circle the room to look at anything of interest. When he became bored to lay in the sofa, he just began to circle and to look everything in the room to take which is interesting. He walked slowly around like a tiny professor in a museum. He was walking like a professor in a museum, pausing now to look at a picture. He was stopping and pausing to look something was interesting. Now to stroke an ornament. Now he stopped to strike an ornament, but doing it so gently that there was never any danger that he could break anything. He was doing everything very gently, so nothing to be worried. Okay. After the attitude behavior, I was used to the camely. I was thrilled with Enpango's beautiful behavior. After the behavior, I am approaching to camely because camely was very rough, and but the Enpongo was very have beautiful behavior. You would have thought that he had been brought up in a house. Because of his good behavior, everybody will think that he is not to be cared in a zoo, but he should bring to the house as a human being. He behaved very well, so well that by the time we put him to bed, my mother asked me if we could keep him in the house permanently. Yeah, when I am putting him in the bed, my mother was asking me that could we keep him in our house permanently? But remembering Kamli's behavior, but when I remembered the Kamli's behavior, I turned a deaf ear to her place. I turned a deaf ear to means I ignored his words and his request. Her plea means request. Okay. Npongo, of course, did not leave the guest room in the condition that he found it. Npongo definitely did not leave the guest room in the condition that he found it. But this was only to be expected. But this is much enough to expect from them. Although his manners were excellent, he was only a baby. Everything was excellent, but he was a baby. So the guest room, when he left it, when he left from the guest room to zoo, the guest room was bore many traces of his presence. Bore means keep. It was keeping many traces, many marks of his presence. On one wall, for example, was something that resembled a map of Japan. There on the wall, there was something look liking for map of Japan. Okay. This was nicely drawn in a scarlet. Yeah, that map of Japan was drawn in a scarlet, bright red color, and was due to the fact that I had thought, and it was when I had thought Npongo might like some tinned raspberries. Yeah, that I remembering. Npongo will be very interested in having tinned raspberries made in tin. He had liked it, really. He had liked it, and his enthusiasm, his enjoyment at this new food of this tinned raspberries was resulted in the map of the Japan. Okay, is it clear? Yeah. There was also the incident with the door, and Pongo, after eating his meal, had tried to follow me out of the room. After eating food, he was trying to follow him out of the room. He knew that the handle, by some magical means, handle of the door, by some magical means, open and closed the door. He thought that the handle is opening and closing the door, but he don't know how to use it exactly. So he had pulled it downwards with all his strength. As I tried unsuccessfully to bend the handle back into position again. Yeah, he just pulled it downwards to open. But when I am trying to make that bended part, I reflected. That means I understood, and I thought carefully that Npongo was only about 2 years old, but his strength would certainly increase along with his size. His strength is being increased. Is it clear? Because he was friendly, had good manners and good sense of humor. He was very friendly, having good manner and good humor sense. Mpongo quickly became the darling of the zoo. Very darling of the zoo. On after warm afternoons, he was brought out onto the lawn in front of the hedge. There in the zoo, in front of the hedge, in front of the fence and boundary, there was a ground with this short grass, and there he would show off to his admirers. He will stand there to show off their fans. Admirers means here the people who are respecting him. Either lying in the grass with a bored expression on his face. It may be sometime laying on the grass with a bored expression, or with a wicked look in his eyes, or maybe a mischievous look in his eyes, working out how he could pose for his photograph, working as how he can stand or sit for the photographs, to take photograph with some earnest visitors, with the serious and determined visitors for the zoos. The gorilla was posing with the visitors of the zoo. He would then rush forward at the most important moment and grab the unfortunate photograph's leg. That time, when people are standing there to take photographs with the gorilla, he would rush forward. He would go forward at the most important moment, that the crucial moment of taking photograph, and grab the unfortunate photograph's leg. He will catch the leg of photographer. This gave him great amusement. It was a great amusement for gorilla Mpongo. However, it generally resulted in an excellent picture. Because of this catching the legs of photographer, it will result in an excellent picture of a completely empty section of lawn. Because of he running from the visitors in that ground, the photograph will be very empty. No one will be in the image. Okay, when he will run, the visitors also will run. So the photographer will take the photographs, but there will be nothing on the image. Okay, yeah. And Pongo was the first gorilla that Gerald Durrell kept in his famous zoo. He was the first one in that zoo. And Pongo lived there for the next 40 years until his death. Until the death of Mpongo, he was living there in this zoo. Extracted from Menagerie Manor by Gerald Durrell. I hope everything clear, yeah? Do you have any doubts? Okay, thank you for watching.